Hello, and welcome to your appointment. I sense that you've been having some issues with fear of the future and personal safety. You feel as though the world is kind of spinning beyond your control, as though there are dangers beyond your awareness or ability to stop, as though we're all hurtling towards some terrible end. I can understand that, particularly in this day and age. It's so easy to give in to worry and stress and anxiety, and it's natural to feel those things. You are not weak for feeling those things. You're human for feeling those things. We all, in our own ways, feel kind of helpless in some situations. The world in which we find ourselves delivers bad news constantly and loudly into our ears at all times, to the point it feels like the light in the world and the good in the world is a minority trying desperately to fight it back. In reality, the opposite is true. Good is enormous, powerful, forceful, and inside you. And even if the world seems dark, the world has been darker, and light has always won out. Things are not as bad as they seem. You're not as helpless as you think. And, though at times it seems like the darkness will win, it never does for long. This too will pass, and we'll get through it together. For now, though, I sense that you need to get away from the current stream of things. So, why don't I take you to a new location? We'll go together. Doesn't that sound nice? All right, so, why don't you get comfortable? Sit down and find a position that makes you most relaxed. Don't try too hard. Don't think about it too hard. This is not work. This is relaxation. This is your time to let all of your worries and anxieties flow down the river of your mind and out, away. They have no place here. There we are. Now, I'm going to slither a bit closer. Don't mind the proximity. It's simply to help you relax into the idea of a nice getaway. I'm going to slither a coil over your lap. I want you to feel its soft, smooth weight as you close your eyes. Take a moment to simply be. Do a quick scan from the top of your head to the tips of your toes. A quick mental check-in with your body. A quick reminder that you exist, and you will continue existing, and that is a good thing. That you are here on this earth. Think about you. Think about all of you. Just remind yourself to be. Don't worry about any kind of alerts, phone messages, emails, calls. Simply be here with me. Feel my coil gently sliding over your lap, a reassuring weight against the weight of the world. There you go. There you go. Now, I want you to breathe. It's not often we take a moment to become aware of our breathing, and when we do, it's often seen as a bad thing. Not here, not now. Breathe. A deep inward breath. Hold and exhale. Don't try to match any rhythm but your own. Simply inhale, hold, and exhale. Good. Good. Take a moment and feel the weight of you. Feel my coil combing over your lap. Gently, softly. Go deep, deep. Feel yourself sinking into your comfortable position. There we are. There we are. Let all your worries flow down the river of your awareness. Breathe. Breathe. Good. Good. Now, I'm going to begin to wrap you up. I'm going to take my coil off of your lap and start with your ankles. A slow upward shift of coils, slipping gently over your skin, slowly upwards along your calves, slowly upwards past your knees. This comforting proximity and weight. Feel it climbing up, up, gently over your tummy. Arms at your sides. There we are. Feel this gentle touch, slowly securing you as you breathe. Relax. Let yourself grow loose. Let the weight of your body simply settle itself where you are. Good. Good. Doesn't this feel pleasant? Nice to just exist for a moment. Now, I'm going to take you somewhere, but first, I need you to open your mind to the idea. Pay close attention to my voice and my touch. Let everything else fade from your awareness. There is nothing here but you and me. Your body bound in coils, my voice gentle in your ear. Sink into this feeling. Sink away from the world, away from all outside influence. You're here with me. I need you to concentrate. Softly, gently. Don't try to grab the idea too hard. Don't obsess about doing it right. Think about a light, a gentle light. It can be any shape, an orb, an animal, just light. Visualize this light. Visualize it dancing just above your head. This way and that. Let it do what it wants. Don't try to control it. This is a soft grip on this visualization. Here, there, everywhere, it's light drifting over my coils as they cover you. Good. Good. We're going to follow this light elsewhere. You do not have to move to do so. We're doing this within you, for this place is within you. Breathe. Breathe. Good. Good. Now, I need that ball of light to gently expand. Let it grow. Let its light cover you, expand around you, embrace you with a light warmth. And as it does, I need you to not open your physical eyes, but your mind's eye, to take in new surroundings. I need you to imagine water flowing Gently, a large body stretching out in all directions. An enormous lake, on which sits a ferry. On this ferry is you and me. A coil gently draped across your lap as we sit on a bench on the deck, going towards a massive forest. Here you are. Here we are. Heading to a new destination. A new place to be for just a little while. Come with me, and we'll see who we meet and what we do. Feel the gentle bob of the ferry. Beyond the waters over which we travel is a great forest with enormous trees, trunks thicker than cars, all stretching up, into a canopy of evergreens. These ancient trees offering shade and dappling the sunlight into speckles and spots along the ground that you can see from our place on the ferry. The ferry is driven by a friendly seal man. He waves from the wheelhouse as we're almost there. As we get closer, you can smell the pine from here. There is a town among these trees. A town called Sifton. You can see bridges and walkways, tree houses and stations, various folks of all sorts walking between these places, as on the ground various stalls and stands sell wares, all homemade. You feel the ferry come to a gentle stop against a dock made of that same ancient wood, worn slightly but sturdy as we're tied off and ready to disembark. I offer you a ride on my coils, my great back stretched before you as you climb on. We slither off the dock and on to the soft soil of Sifton. Various firs wave at us as we weave between the trees. It's hard not to feel a bit small here, but in a good way, a gentle way, a protected way, as though the forest will keep us close, keep us safe, as though little can harm us here, which is very true. Our first stop in Sifton is to a great ranger station at the base of the largest tree of the town. A large caribou man named Baron leans out of a window, enormous hands waving as he smiles, showing blunt teeth at the end of a large, broad muzzle. His entire body speaks of strength, of a kind of protective instinct. He has a fatherliness about him, which is quite nice, comforting, in fact. He offers us inside, as he welcomes us to Sifton. He sees you on my back and offers a hand. You take it. His hands end in hoof-tipped fingers, hard keratin just above soft, warm, worn hands. You gather that these hands have worked on various wooden objects around his office. There's whittled horses, toys, and even small frescoes carved into large logs of the various events in Sifton's history. Various parties, various warm festivals. Lots of scenes all done up in wood with a gentle, caring hand currently wrapped around your own. Baron asks your name. You tell him. He smiles that friendly smile and says that he hopes you enjoy your time here in Sifton. He says that the forest has been here for as long as anyone can remember, its leafy canopy offering a home for anyone who needs it, and that it is your home for as long as you need it. He says he's honored to be a ranger of Sifton, that he enjoys walking through the great forest paths of this place. He wanted to be a ranger ever since he was a child, to help to protect this place, but he finds now that in a way it protects him. When he was young, a small caribou, He once found the wood a little frightening, though he loved it. He never knew what was hiding behind the next tree, what might lurk up in the foliage. However, as he grew, he learned that this was a place of safety, and that even beyond this wood, there is really not much point in worrying what lies beyond, in worrying about what dangers the future might hold, if you're comfortable here and now. One's mind likes to take the little things and ignore them, the small victories, the quiet comforts. But now that he's a ranger here, and he gets to see people smile and enjoy these small things, these quiet moments, he finds that he enjoys his own all the more. There are trials, there are tribulations some days, but these always pass, and the wood remains. No matter what happens, the wood remains. He asks if it is all right to hug you. Upon your ascent, he enfolds you in a great, broad embrace against a strong chest. You can feel his breath rising and falling, that wide muzzle exhaling against your shoulder, as he embraces you for just a moment. He releases you and says that he hopes you enjoy your stay in Sifton. Before we depart, he asks your favorite animal. You tell him, and he produces a small keychain with a carefully whittled version of your animal. It is soft to the touch, sanded smooth by his gentle hands. He presses it into your palm and says you may take this with you, to remind you of the wood, no matter where you go. We smile and exchange goodbyes as we go up. That's right. There are great stairs in the side of the tree, for Sifton is a vertical city, a vertical town, going up into the canopy. I slither forward, offering you a ride again as we go up, looking into the great network of bridges, people smiling, laughing, climbing, all amid the evergreen trees. There is a light chill in the air, but you find it hard to consider this among such happiness and warmth. We go up, up, up. There are houses built into the side of the tree. You look inside and see scenes of warmth and happiness. People having dinner, sharing talks, lying on couches and beanbags among many books, many places and many hobbies. One of these doors in the sides of the tree opens as we slither by. A large squirrel woman leans out. She's taller than you by a fair margin, and quite a bit wider as well. She looks well fed, in the way only someone with a motherly disposition seems to be. She smiles, chubby cheeks wiggling just slightly. She ushers us inside, and I take her up on the invitation. The inside of her home is warm. On the stove, stew boils. It's a warm, all-encompassing sort of smell that fills you with a sense of hominess, a sense of belonging, like a Sunday dinner. As you take a deep inhale of breath, you can smell the love that she's put into this stew, that it's made to nourish, to lend a bit of her strength to those who might need it. She tells us that her name is Cosette. She's lived in Sifton for some time, perhaps longer than anyone else. She's seen people come and go, coming into town as they need and leaving when they are ready. She's always there, ready with a hot bowl of soup. She says that she loves to cook, and that it makes her happy, but she didn't always know that it made her happy. She spent a long time here in Sifton, wondering what you could do to give back, wondering what you could do to feel worthy of the place where she was. It was only after quite some time that she figured out that, by nature of existing, by nature of being her, she was worthy of what she had, She was worthy of compassion, of a safe place to stay, of a warm fire and a hearth ready to receive her. And she thought then that her purpose should be to make others feel the same. Thus, when you ask her if there's anything you can do in return for her stew, she turns you down with a smile. Here in Sifton, there is no bartering, there is no false equivalency for kindness. Paying something forward is only at your leisure, because simply by being you and being decent, you've earned kindness, you've earned compassion, and you are in the debt of no one. She shows you various cooking implements around her kitchen. There's whisks and mixers and rolling pins, all akimbo around the space. She asks if you'd like to help her make bread, and you agree that you would. She gently shows you the ways of her cooking. She guides you softly, occasionally placing your hands here or there where they are needed. You measure out everything: flour, yeast, salt, milk, all to make a massive loaf of bread. She kneads it with strong arms, their chubbiness belaying their strength. She lets you have a turn. Your fingers sink into the dough easily. It feels soft to the touch, pliant and slightly smooth, powdered lightly with flour. She nods approvingly as you work the dough for a little while. The dough gets firmer as you continue to knead and roll it until she says it's ready. She gets a massive tin for the bread, lining it with parchment paper. She smiles as you help her lift the loaf into the tin and cover it lightly with a wrap of plastic. She says the dough needs to rise and that you'll wait together while it does. She takes you to the side at a little table. I slither up nearby, piling my coils in great loops around you, putting one nearby for you to stroke if you would like. She makes us tea. It's a spicy, warm brew that she lets you enjoy and refill at your leisure. She says that empty space is rather rare, but she enjoys it while bread rises. Doing nothing for a little while can be therapeutic. A lot of the times, the empty space in our lives is where anxieties and worries like to filter in. But sometimes it's nice to clear your mind and let yourself be for a moment. Simply being can be an anxious thing. It can be hard to simply let ourselves exist without distraction, without reaching for a video or a spot of music. But it is often worth it to take a moment, breathe deeply, and be in the moment. She sips her tea and invites you to take a deep breath, in and out, in your own time, in your own rhythm, as you sit together, waiting on the bread to rise. She asks you about your life and listens with genuine interest, occasionally asking questions here and there, but mostly letting you speak to your own experience. She lets you expound on all the things you don't normally get to. Her eyes and ears hold no judgment and no disapproval. After a while of talking, a small timer rings. She says that the bread is ready. She takes it out from its place, all risen and fluffy, and sticks it into a massive brick oven, where it cooks in no time at all. The entire nook of the tree fills with the warm scent of bread. It fills your nose and seems to sink into your very being, filling you with a sense of warmth and comfort. When she takes it out, it's golden brown and perfect. She lets it cool for a moment, cleaning the kitchen, before taking out a large bread knife and carving an enormous slice for you. She wraps it in a plaid handkerchief and gives it to you as a gift, saying that you can take it and enjoy it as we go further up the tree. We bid our goodbyes to Cosette. She enfolds you in a massive hug that buries you almost completely in the warmth of her form. You hug back and enjoy the moment before we move on. I slither further up the tree with you on my back. We wave to various people who live within this space, under the canopy, far from worry, here in Sifton. Further still up the tree, we come to the most massive nook you've seen. You can see various people coming in and out, holding books, excited to read and discover new stories. Inside is a massive library with ladders pushed here, there, everywhere, into nooks and crevices, all worked into the walls where one can sit and read. Each nook is lined with pillows all the way around. You can lounge in whatever position is comfortable while you indulge in what you find here. The owner of the library is an owl. He is too old for names. The great pillows that line the nooks are filled with his feathers, soft and plush. He is larger than even I am, his wingspan broad enough to encompass anything he sees. He flaps down to us, landing with soft clicks of talons on the wooden floor as he tilts his head this way and that, lightly inspecting you, before he smiles. It is a grandfatherly expression, and he asks you come near as he shares one of his favorite stories. You do so. He opens his great wings, bracing one against your back. His downy feathers are soft, and you sink gently in as he leans forwards and coos a story to you. He tells you the story of a mouse who feared things beyond his mouse hole. Every day the postal mouse would come by with a newspaper, and the mouse would read, and all he would hear was all the dark and scary things of the world, about all of the bad things going on far beyond his door, until it felt as though those were the only things that happened in the wider world. He stayed inside, shut himself off, full of anxiety and worry. However, one day, after the other members of his village had not seen him for some time, a traveler came from afar and asked to stay for just a little while. The mouse, having heard such bad things about the world afar, let the traveler in, hoping he might keep him safe, keep him away from the darkness that lay beyond that door. The traveler came in and shared stories with the mouse, of travels, of friends, of food. And the mouse asked, "Well, all of that stuff sounds great, but the outside world seems so dangerous. How do you go out into that, knowing all the stuff that might happen?" And the traveler smiled and said, "The world is big, broad, so far beyond anything we can possibly comprehend. The things that we hear are all of the bad stuff that goes on in that broad world, and our own views are so small that all of that large bad stuff can seem insurmountable, enormous. If the only thing you let within is the bad of the world, that's all you will see without as well." He told the mouse that sometimes it is important to take the large view of the world, but if you do it always, all you'll ever do is worry. Sometimes it is nice to take a smaller view. Think of the things around you. Think of the things near you, about the good things in your life. Then, no matter where you go, no matter where you travel, if you focus on what is near, what is dear, and what is close, there will always be some good things in this world, no matter what else is going on around you. The mouse and the traveler took tea and considered this for some time. The traveler told more stories and then told of his home, about how all of the local people would be so happy to see him when he came back, about how he would share stories with them like he shared stories with the mouse. And the mouse considered how he had been locked away for some time, how he had isolated himself because the world seemed so dark and so bad. But when he thought about it in that smaller view, of the little things that happened in the day-to-day, about how his tea was warm and sweet, about how the male mouse waved at him every morning, about how the mouse woman down the street used to share bread with him when he walked by. He hadn't walked by in some time. He'd let the breath of the world press down on him, and it had made him anxious, worried. All he could think about were the problems going on far from his door. And while that compassion was important, so was he. He deserved a break from those thoughts, a break from those anxieties of the wide world. When the traveler left the next morning, the mouse smiled and asked if he could come along, perhaps. The traveler returned the expression and said, "Of course." And together they went out into the world, and while there were troubles and there were tribulations, and they considered them from time to time, they also took small moments to simply be themselves, to take that smaller view, to consider the little good things that happened in the day-to-day. And through that, they were always safe, always warm, and always just a little happier than they'd be otherwise. The owl finished his story, his great feathers fluffing as he looks down at you. He asks if you enjoyed it, and you find that you did. He tells you that, among all of the books and tomes that he has in this great library, he gives his wings a shake, and from their enormous form falls a feather. It lands in your lap, and you pick it up. It's so light, it's like it's almost not even there. He says if you ever have need of this library, need of a story, you can simply caress the feather's length, and the next door you open will take you here, safely, wholly. He wishes you luck as we go up to the top of the trees, and with that, he is off to tell others stories that they might need to hear. I smile at you and ask you climb back onto my coils one more time. We leave the library, waving to people as we go, as I slither up the tree to a final place. This one is empty, besides a roaring fire that crackles in a fireplace. It's a cabin at the top of the trees, so that you can look out across the top of the canopy and see the sun setting in the corner as the evening chill settles in. I slither inside. The interior of the cabin is massive, but so am I. I fill the space comfortably. I let you climb down off of my coils and smile at you. I ask if you've had a nice day, and you say that you have, and I have as well, in your company. I ask if you'd like to sit in front of the fire for a while and simply be, calmly, gently. I would enjoy that. It's a little chilly here, and to hold you would warm my coils almost as much as the fire. With a smile, I slither close. Great warm lengths of scale crowding in around you gently, softly, cradling you as I drape my arms over your shoulders and ask if your anxieties have been quieted. I know that it is impossible to quiet them always, and it is okay to feel them. You are not weak for your worries and anxieties. But I hope you can find little moments like this, here in a log cabin above a massive forested town, thick slithering coils settling around like a weighted blanket, a warm fire crackling, the worries of the world far away and distant as I hold you close within my ever-shifting grasp. Take this moment, carry it with you, and while I want you to feel your emotions when you need to, also take time to revisit this place. Take time to revisit this feeling. Take time to revisit all the tiny little detours we took today, all the people we've met, all the people you've met, here and beyond. Feel safe, feel warm, as my coils crowd further and further around you, gently rubbing over your legs, your arms, wrapping securely around your shoulders, cradling in around your cheeks. You are swaddled and held here, in a place for just a moment, with no anxieties, no worries, only you, only me, in the great trees of Sifton, here and comfortable.